I'm just really grateful for what pizza honestly has given me. It's every day I wake up and go, I make pizza for a living, but look at what I've accomplished. I literally make food with my friends and serve it to people, and it just blows my mind.
Albert Grande here from Pizza Therapy. I'm talking with Vito from Stella's Pizza Pie. Vito, how's it going today?
It's good. It's a beautiful day outside.
Looks like a gorgeous day there in Southern California. Vito, we met. I can't believe it. I was just going over the video before. We spoke 7 years ago at a Pizza Expo. So, what's new with Stella's Pizza Pie in that time?
In that time frame, we've taken it from like a little hobby to a full-blown business.
Wow.
Um, I still don't realize how I've turned pizza into my life, but it's meeting people like you and everyone else I've met in this business, like Audra from Fire Within, who's helped me out a lot and has kindly showed me the way.
Yep.
And one just I guess I was in the right spot at the right time, and had a passion for what I did and what I
Yep.
do. And I think when someone really enjoys something they do, it shows in their work. We take a lot of pride in what we do. So we mainly cater weddings. So it's not like your average party where you kind of have to go above and beyond
Yeah.
and make sure that day is really special because I don't want to be the one that messes it up.
Yep.
So with that, I think that's how our names kind of spread over the years
Yep.
to where
Yep.
we're at now.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Great. Great. Tell me how you got started in the pizza business.
Um, in the pizza business, I got started. I grew up in a giant Italian Sicilian family. Started making pizza with my grandmother when I was a little kid, and was wanting to do my own thing when I was about almost 11 years ago now. And I was talking to my family, try to come up with some ideas, and saw a mobile pizza oven. And mom was like, "You could do that." And did about 6 months of research, found the Fire Within University in Colorado. Um, at that time, I went to the university, saw my oven, picked out my oven, and had that shipped out to California. And from that day on, I had an event the first day I got my oven. And like I said, it's just following the dream one foot in front of the other and listening to what the people ahead of me had to say. It's
Right.
really helped me
Wow.
out a lot.
So your
Yeah.
love of pizza goes way back. You learned from your grandmother.
Oh, pizza is in our blood. And she would make the same pizza, does not matter. It had provolone, mozzarella, red onions, sausage, and salami. And
Wow.
that's the only pizza she would ever make. Don't ask for anything else on it. You might get cheese if you're lucky and a kid.
Yep.
But big square pan pizza and get the dough out and get make the dough with her and proof it and let it rise and it's part of my blood
Yep.
if you get
Yep.
what I'm saying there. Um, and it's just something that brings happiness to me.
Wow.
Life is so full of distractions and so full of, you know, one thing going on over here, one thing going over there. But I know when I'm in my kitchen, I don't have any problems. It's just me, my food, my staff, and I have it pretty well. I really do. And, I'm just really grateful for what pizza honestly has given me. It's every day I wake up and go, I make pizza for a living, but look at what I've accomplished.
Yep.
And like, I literally make food with my friends and serve it to people, and it just blows my mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Blows
Yeah.
my mind.
Wow, that's fantastic. Do you have any tips from your grandmother that you carry on from making pizza to this day?
Yeah, take my time and make the food with love.
Yep.
And that's all she ever said. Take your time, make it with love, and if you don't like it, do it again.
Wow. I like that. I like that. That
She
is some,
would, yeah, she would make a cake and take 3 bites out of it and say, "Oh no, it's not good." And she'd make another cake, and while that one's baking, she eat the first one. So,
wow. Wow.
everything it had to be right before she served it to anybody, and that that brings me excitement when people understand that and feel that through the food that
Right.
we're making for
Right.
people.
So, Stella's Pizza Pie, when you do an event, it's more than just pizza, right? You also offer other Italian food.
We have a full menu. We do a lot of chicken scallopini. We do a lot of baked ziti and cannolis, and all different types of pastas. And it's pretty much anything you want Italian. If it's not on our menu, it's probably not. It's not something that people are ordering often. Like, we've cut our menu down to pretty much a minimalist as possible. And we always give the people an option as well. If there's something that you want that's not on our menu,
Yep.
let me know. Because we always have tastings, and before I serve anything at an event, I want to make sure the person's happy with the food. So as long as they give me time, I'll get in my kitchen and I'll make something up for them, and bring that to the tasting and hope it fulfills their needs. But it's
Yeah.
always about making it just the
Sure.
right way.
So you started with that one oven
Hmm.
from Fire Within, and it sounds like you kind of expanded a bit. So where are you now?
Well, we have 2 ovens now. Um, one of the ovens, I just actually sent my oven up to Colorado. Actually drove it up there on a little family vacation and dropped it off with Object and Fire Within. And they had it for about a month, I think. And in that time, they redid the stone, they redid the dome, they redid the plumbing on my water heater and my sink. We redid the brakes, pretty much did a whole overhaul of my trailer,
Right.
and now it's like back to new.
Okay. That's
And
fantastic.
I got 10 years out of that thing, and now we have a smaller oven that we'll be using for smaller events.
Yep.
Um, I really don't like spreading myself too thin or my staff too thin,
Yep.
um, especially when it comes to food. Like, you can mess up a lot of things, but when you're at a party or an event, but food is usually the most memorable thing. And if you're not taking your time and being careful with that, you burn something at the event, because we cook everything on site.
Oh, wow.
So I cook my ziti in my oven. Like, I'll make my sauce in the kitchen, but I'll bake the ziti in the oven. I'll make the scallopini in the oven. I'll make my scampi in the oven. Everything's done in the oven on site.
Wow.
Um, it's not coming out of a box warmed up from hours ago. Everything's getting made there. So it's fresh. It's all about fresh, good products served timely manner.
Wow. So
So,
you bring up kind of an interesting point. So not only are you making pizza out of your oven, but you're
mhm.
doing all your other food out of the oven, correct?
Yeah, yep, and a lot of bread, like just focaccia bread to go with the scampi, stuff like that.
Yep.
You can use it for so many different things, and it makes life a little bit harder when you're cooking baked ziti for 200 people and pizza and warming it all up in the oven at the same time.
Yep.
But over the years, we figured it out, and you know, it's it's just something that's become part of life, if that
Wow.
makes sense to you.
Wow. No, it
Um,
does. If you don't mind, I'm trying to picture in my head, how
mhm.
do you do the baked ziti? So that's, I mean, I would think you'd make it off site and then warm it up, but you don't do that. How do you start from scratch?
Well, I'll make the sauce, right? I use my
Yeah.
grandmother's recipe. I'll make the sauce. I'll make the filling, and I will make well, sometimes, most of the time, we'll boil the pasta. I'll layer it there because I'll heat the sauce up when at the event. I have
Yep.
a burner. We'll heat the sauce up there. We'll layer it there, and from there it goes directly into the oven, and we'll fire them off, and we'll get them out. And when they need a new one, we'll have one in the oven ready to come out. So we're just rotating them out, and that way everyone gets fresh, hot, melting ziti.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
And
fantastic.
you gotta have it hot, and it needs to be gooey, and you need a lot of cheese.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, yeah. You know, the other thing that's really interesting is you like to think like cars, they're going to last forever, but they don't. I mean,
They don't.
over a period of time, things break down. You need maintenance. You got to do different things to it. And it sounds like you had to do that to your 10-year-old oven, which I think is, 10 years is a pretty long time.
It, honestly, if the thing wasn't built so well, I have no idea. Driving over the roads I've had to drive over and the places I've had to go, how my oven was still intact.
Wow.
And, you know, I've seen other people's ovens and different brands that don't hold up so well. And it's amazing how well this thing, treat it with respect. It's part of your equipment. If you're gonna treat the stuff with respect and house it in a proper area and have shelter for it, you know, it all goes back into the care of the business. And if you care about everything, it's gonna show.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and that's why it's important to care for your equipment because at an event, that's the first thing people see. And if you're not taking care of your stuff and maintaining it and having the proper people maintain it,
Right.
that's the other big thing. It's really difficult to find someone that will work on a pizza stone floor in a mobile oven in San Diego. It's really difficult. And that's why I ended up bringing my trailer back to Fire Within because I knew what I was getting. I knew the people there. I was comfortable with them. And I wasn't just dropping my oven off, hoping that the guy in the corner was going to do it right. And we made a trip out of it, a little family vacation. It was spur of the moment. And I just said, hey, I got time to do your oven. When can you get here?
Yep.
I said, I
Oh,
said,
that's
I'm leaving
fantastic.
today. And so my wife's like, I work from home. Let's go. And we threw the kids in the car. And 3 days later, we were there.
Wow.
And, it's the memory that we'll always have. And it's just because of pizza. One more thing. All these things come up in my life. And it's because, really hard to say, it's because of pizza, and I've just been blessed, you know? And I guess I don't have to understand it, but I just have to be present for it, put everything I have into my business. So,
And for you, Stella's Pizza Pie is a full-time gig, right?
full-time gig, yes. We have next year on the books already, about 39 events,
Wow.
and we'll probably get about another 15 more. So we're working Saturdays and Sundays. Do have a 2 week max limit that my wife put on me.
Yep.
Because family to me is also the most important thing besides business. And I know about my business, I'm not going to be able to have my family live the life that they want to live. And I am very fortunate that we do not have a brick and mortar, that I do
Yep.
not have to have a brick and mortar. I take my kids to school. I pick my kids up from school. I
Yep.
coach, coach little league, coach softball. I'm there during the week for everything they want to do.
Yep.
And my father growing up, my parents, they owned Subway restaurants. And I never saw my dad. Never. He always had to work because he wanted to provide for us.
Yep.
And I've figured out how to do that and provide for my family. And I don't know any other way where I would be able to do what I do.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
because the second people are like, oh, you need to open a restaurant. Where do I go for your food? And it's like, I love my family too much to open a restaurant. And, I'm fine with what we're doing right now. And as
Yep.
long as we keep, it, and it's, it's a true blessing. That's the only way I can describe my life.
Sure. Wow. Well, blessings to you. You bring up a really interesting point as well. I've spoken to a lot of people that have been in the mobile wood-fired business, and they say, "Oh man, I want to go to a brick and mortar. I'm looking forward to a brick and mortar." It's not necessarily what you think it will be, and I think you've kind of figured that out. Doing the mobile pizza business, it gives you a lot more freedom, a lot more time with your family, which I think is important.
It is important because isn't that why we do everything for our family? And I have a lot of my family that helps with my events. It's a giant family. It's a family business.
Yep.
My staff, I've had staff work with me we came down, we moved back to San Diego about 8 years ago, and I still have staff working for me now that worked then.
Wow,
You
that
know,
is
because
very
if you
cool.
keep your staff happy, they're gonna stay. They're
Yep,
gonna appreciate you. I don't have to worry about anything, because most of my staff has worked for over 5 years for me.
sure.
And and that's hard to find an employee that's gonna sit there and work with you and go through everything. It all comes back to they see the pride I put into it. They see the effort I put into it.
Yep.
And when you're showing these people how to do it and not just telling them, it goes a long way. Goes back to having pride in what I do, from food to everything. Like I don't even I sit here and I think about like people in this industry that have done things for me that didn't need to do things for me, who have showed up and like 7 years ago, you didn't know who I was, but you still wanted to interview me and gave me the time and like got to know me. And there's been other companies that have done that with me. Forno Bravo worked with me for a long time, and all these different avenues opened up and have brought my life to a place where I get to travel to go teach people how to make pizza. Like go on an airplane, it's like um, I still, but then you see that look on the person's face and you're like, I understand why I do it. It's not, I understand why I do it. I understand that, like, you know, this makes so much sense to me why I'm doing this. I don't know
Wow.
if you understand that, but
I do. I do. I do. And I mean, there's a lot to unpackage what you said.
yeah,
One of the big things I think for a lot of people in the pizza business is finding staff or finding help. It's been a real difficult time to get people in there. But it sounds like if you take care of the people that work for you, they're going to take care of you. And as you
it,
said, you've developed a good positive relationship with them. And it goes a long way, I think.
it does because our average wedding's about 150 people and we've done up to 300. And if you don't have staff that knows your business inside and out, that cannot run your oven, prep your appetizers, serve your food, set everything up, you're at a major disadvantage.
Right.
So it's like I have five managers at every event,
Wow.
and then I have people, and it's like everyone knows their role. And it's just like a well-oiled machine. We served 200 people a couple weeks ago in under an hour.
Wow.
Um, just because we work so well together.
Yep.
And the process that we've come up with over the years of like perfecting it to where we have more pizza on a table than the people can even eat. And
Wow.
that's as they're
Wow.
going through a buffet line.
Yep.
So and then again it's because we're there really early because I don't want to mess up someone's wedding,
Sure. Of
you
course.
know, and we have 5-star reviews on every single page you look at.
Wow.
And
Wow.
it goes into caring and concerning, and that's the biggest thing I think I can tell small business owners, people that are starting a new business: buy quality food. If there's a $6 bag of cheese and there's a $20 bag of cheese, there's a reason why.
Yep.
you know there's a reason why, and your food's going to taste it in the long run. you know Find staff, keep them happy. You have staff and good food, everything else will work out. It's when you're buying subpar food, like a lot of these companies do. I'll go to the warehouse to go get cheese, and there's no cheese left of the $6 bag, but all the $20 bags you want. I
Yep.
wish the cheese was only $20 these days, but it's not.
Sure. Sure.
Um, but and those are the things that set you apart, and those are the things that's going to push you to the next level above the next person.
Yep.
And really listening to your clients after and before. We have so many different processes and like a BEO, and we go through all these different things from the time they have an inquiry all the way through to the end. And we went through our numbers on Wedding Wire last month because that's a great place to go. And we had over 500 inquiries last year.
Yep.
So from a little business that started wanting to do little league and little league like baseball games on the weekend. That was my plan. You
Yep.
know, I'm gonna do some little league stuff on the weekend, and I'll have my normal job, and I'll still get to cook, and it's gonna be so much fun. And then you blink, and 11 years later, and here you are.
Oh,
Uh,
that's fantastic. Wow. I
Now
wanted
I'm
you to,
going. Go ahead.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about Wood-Fired University and
Hmm.
how that helped you in your process.
Well, if you're like me, I said I did a lot of research, about 6, 7 months, 8 months worth of research, and got my business plan together. And then, my final thing was I did all this work. Now I need to go there and like actually be hands-on. And when I got there, at first I was like, man, I just did 6 to 8 months worth of research, and they had it all in one book.
Wow.
And if I would have had that book before, it would have really helped me out. But that was when it was first starting, Rolling in Dough, I think it's called.
Exactly. Yes.
Um, and that book, I don't read many books, but I've read that book a couple times. And and that right there was kind of the starting point to where when we got there, they teach you everything. Now, I know I went 10 years ago and it's had to go on way beyond what I had, but
Yep.
they had marketing stuff. They taught you how to do social media. They taught you how to do set up websites and how to come up with names, and they teach you how to do dough and how to prepare the toppings, and how to start an oven correctly, because there's a lot of different ways you can light an oven,
Right.
and to do it the right way, like these little things that you don't think of that are just, oh, I don't have to worry about that yet. They've thought of it. They've gone through it. They've perfected it. And it's literally, people ask me and I go, well, that like book, Ride a Bike for Dummies. I'm like,
Yes.
it's the same thing. I don't want to
Right.
say it's dumb, but it's the same thing. Like everything you need to know is in there.
Right.
And when you go there and they teach you it and you get that hands-on experience, um, I came back from that thing and everyone's like, how long have you been doing this for? Oh, about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And and I listened and I listened and I asked questions, and the guys that said, "Hey, if you have questions, call us."
Right.
I took those numbers down and I called those guys and I listened to what they had to say.
Yep.
And that is so valuable, is getting as much information as I could get. And I still have all my notebooks from all the stuff I wrote down from all the research. And we just moved a couple years ago and I was looking at it, and to see where my thought process was
Yep.
before,
Yep.
and then looking at the folders of later on after I met all these people and started talking to people about sauces and ovens and all this different stuff, it changed so much into this, like, I don't know, beautiful flower somehow.
Right.
I don't know
Right.
how to put it, but it all started because I went to that school
Yep.
and I listened and I took their suggestions to reach out to other people. And
Yep.
then they put you in contact with the other people. It's not just like, hey, go find a guy and talk to him about pizza. There's one guy in Colorado. Now I just had people in Southern California call me,
Yep.
and I'll go over my business plan with them and I'll explain to them what I do and how I do it. And that's because people did it for me. Like, I
Yes.
don't want to tell some guy in my market how to do a pizza business and how I started my business, but you know what? I do it anyways.
Yep.
I
Yep.
do it anyways because you want to know why? One day that guy's going to help someone else out.
Yep.
And and if those people before me didn't help me out, I wouldn't be here.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
Joe had fire within at first, and then when Audrey picked it up, he contacted me, and he had this Pizza Expo in, I think it was Salinas, and I think that was about 9 years ago.
Yes.
And it's quite a drive from San Diego. And he said, I don't know where you're at in San Diego, but if you want to do this, I would really appreciate it. And I was like, let's go.
You're
Joe helped
there.
me out so
Yep.
much, and I
Yep.
don't care what it takes. I'm gonna go help this guy out.
Yep.
And that has turned into this. most beautiful relationship. Like
Yep.
I, and it's all because of doing things because other people did them for me.
Yes. Yeah.
And without that school, I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't know the cheese. I wouldn't know the sauce. I wouldn't know all the right things to do. I wouldn't know the tools to use, you know. And they put it all there for you. And it's just like, here's a platter of success. Take it and run with it.
Yep.
And
Oh.
they can give you that, but you got to take it from there,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. And
Well,
it's
Vito, you
amazing what
kind of
they
given
have
me
going on.
a mini seminar
I know,
in getting
it's
into the
just
pizza business. Boy,
it
that's
just means so
fantastic.
much to me, you know. It just means, seeing people happy over food makes me so happy. Like we just went on a cruise with my uncle for his birthday, and he wanted to take a pasta making class.
Yep.
Are you kidding me? A pasta making class on the boat. The lady goes, "Oh, have you ever made pasta before, sir?" And I'm looking at her, I'm like, I think so. I think I got this. 10 minutes through the thing, she's telling me to turn down my burner because my pancetta is too hot. I'm looking at her, I'm
Yep.
like, lady, okay, I don't want to argue with you. I'm going to do what you want to do. And then finally, I pull her aside. I'm like, hey, can I cook it a little longer? And she goes,
Yeah.
"Oh, you can if you want, sir." And I was like, all right, cool. Thank you. And then after she goes, "Do you cook?" I go, "A little bit." She goes, "I could tell your pasta came out really well." They wanted to make a little 8, 12 inch pasta sheet, and I ran the whole 32 inch through the machine.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we had these long pasta, and but it was still seeing those people have that joy, and my uncle having that joy and just making food. It makes
Yep.
people happy.
Yeah.
Food equals happiness.
Absolutely. That's the, I guess that's
And that's it
Vito's
right there.
philosophy of pizza
You
and
know,
life.
You find someone that doesn't want a good slice of pizza. And when you got these guys from the East Coast telling you got good pizza, hey, I can't complain.
Absolutely.
I can't complain. When a guy comes in the back to tell you how hasn't had a pizza pie like that on this side of the country, it
Yep.
feels good,
That
you know?
does. It does. It does. Well,
And
Vito, you really have given me a lot of different information, but I'd like to finish up by asking you, the biggest question is, what advice would you give someone that wants to get into the mobile pizza business?
the biggest advice, listen to what people have to say ahead of you.
Yep.
Really take your time. When it's coming to buy equipment, there's a reason why stuff's more expensive than other stuff. Don't waste your time buying cheap, inexpensive equipment that's going to break because hopefully you're going to be using this stuff a lot.
Yep.
Buy a quality oven, something that's going to hold up. And I know one that does is the Fire Within oven. It holds up to 10 years of driving it crazy on dirt roads to wineries and everywhere else.
Yep.
Buy quality food, put yourself out there. Start small, a little farmer's market or something, and work your way up. And from a farmer's market is where I got my first wedding.
Yep.
And I don't do farmer's markets anymore. Put it that way. I don't have time
Yeah. Of course.
because, you know, I listened to someone ahead of me. I'm going to go
Yep.
back to the listening part and not and getting the best product you can get.
Yep. Yep.
Bottom line. And what I have found is I can't make as much dough as I want to make. There are local bakers that will take your recipe and make your dough for you
Yep.
and bag it and freeze it. That's something that I think, and there's a couple other good brands of dough that you could buy, but I really think that having that little extra, because you're going to come to a time, just knowing that there's someone there that could help you out with the dough is like a
Yep.
big relief for me.
Sure.
I didn't need that for a couple years because we're making 50 dough balls, 100 dough balls in a month. I mean, we'll go through 800 in a
Yep.
month. It's just one thing that scares people, I think, a lot. Is thinking, oh my God, I have to roll all this dough and I need all these big machines to do
Sure.
all this dough. And it's dough scary, and that's the biggest thing I could put out there is ask for help, have good equipment, buy quality food. If you don't know what to do, ask somebody again.
Yes.
You know, that could be really frustrating trying to come up with something and reinvent the wheel when it's already been made.
Yep.
And really, the, take it slow. Don't
Yep.
bite off more than you can chew at first. Um, take it slow. Find good staff. That's pretty much my business in a nutshell.
Yep. Yep.
And I've taken that to where I'm at now. And
All right. Well, where can people find you, Vito? Tell us a little
uh,
bit about Stella's Pizza Pie.
well, Stella's Pizza Pie, where you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Stella's Pizza Pie, um, and X, right?
Yep.
But actually, social media is a huge thing, and we've been missing out on it for a long time, posting random here and there. And that's something we actually invested in a couple of months ago,
Yep.
was getting someone to run our social media. That's another thing. And, views to your website do go up quite a bit if you're doing that stuff correctly. So that took 11 years to figure out, but hey,
Yeah. Hey, you're
wait,
doing
we got,
it.
but I still don't know how to post anything.
Yep.
It's okay. I can
Yep.
make a pizza though. Go ahead.
Vito, thank you so much for taking time to talk to me. I really appreciate it. Did you want to say something else?
No, I just want to thank you for taking your time to reach out to me.
Oh, no, no.
Um,
Honored to. Honored to. I love your story. You just got a great story. Okay.
Man, well, you gotta love life,
You got to
you
love life.
know?
Yep. Yep. Okay. Well, thanks a lot, Vito. I'll talk to you
Thank
soon.
you, Albert.
Okay.